Hello and welcome back to the channel. So I had a request from someone to make some Salmon Wellington. Here's my pastry sheets, my spinach, obviously a lemon, cream cheese, egg, garlic, Dijon, dill. That's going to be for my olive oil once I get going, and some shallots. Salmon, 1 pound, 2 ounces, and my pastry. Let's get prepping. This is a super easy recipe. Easy to follow, easy to do. I know Wellington is so overwhelming. All right, we are going to add a tablespoon, and a little drop of olive oil. Once that heats up, we're gonna add our garlic and our shallots, and then we're just gonna cook it about 3 to 4 minutes, just really until it's fragrant. And then we'll add our spinach in and cook it until it's wilted a bit. All right, let's add our shallots. So normally I would add my garlic right away, but I'm just gonna let it cool just a bit. It smells so good. Garlic burns so fast. So my Instagram page is MacDogMac. I have tons of food posts on there. If you ever see one that you want, just shoot me a message and I share. I put a lot in my stories of food that doesn't actually go on my page. I'm cooking this one because someone messaged me and said, oh, you have to share that. So here I am. We also do a travel page of all our travels. If you want to see our travels, that is just Glenn and Rhonda. Super easy. There's pictures of us on the front. We're gonna add our spinach in now and saute that for a few minutes. I think the hardest work of this recipe, when you do it the way I do to show you, is just the dishes. It's already reduced to almost half the size. Spread it all out. You got lots of space now that it's wilting down. We're gonna stir in the dill. Not that you're gonna see it now because it's in with the spinach. Give that a little stir, and then we're gonna add in the cream cheese. You wanna kinda like cut it up a little bit so that it mixes well. Once I get it in there, I'm gonna shut it off and then break it up. I'm gonna shut it off. Once I get it mixed up, I'm gonna add the lemon and egg yolk, but not till about after 10 minutes. Give it a little bit of time to cool before I add the egg yolk. And that was 2/3 of a cup of cream cheese. There we have it. That is pretty well combined. We're gonna put in our tablespoon of grated lemon. Now that is gonna smell so fresh. Once we give this a really good stir, we're gonna leave it for about 10 minutes. And allow it to cool before we add the egg yolk. We don't want to have scrambled eggs in the spinach. The egg yolk's going to help hold it all together. And if you're watching this and you're liking the video, please don't forget to subscribe. Makes me keep wanting to build content for you. Give a comment, a thumbs up. Let me know if you try it, actually. That would be awesome. There. Now we're just going to let this sit and cool for about 10 minutes. Gonna add a bit of salt and pepper in there, like half a teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon. And some pepper, fresh cracked pepper. All right, it's time to get our egg yolk in there. That's just the egg yolk. I drained out the white. Let's mix her up. Let's fold this egg yolk into our spinach mixture of cream cheese, garlic, shallot, salt, pepper. You want to add the salt and pepper once you turn it off at the end when you put in the lemon zest. So once we get this all mixed up, we are going to start prepping our salmon. We're going to get flour-lined parchment paper, get our pastry on there. I'm using 2 sheets of pastry. Now you don't have to, if you can stretch it, roll it and stretch it out, but you don't want it to be too thin. We were all mixed up. The spinach mixture was completely cooled. Okay, so I've put a little bit of flour on the bottom so that the pastry doesn't stick. We're going to very carefully take our pastry out of here. We have 2 sheets, so we'll work with 1 at a time. And they've been out at room temperature over 10 minutes. You really only need 10 minutes. Let's put this on here. Carefully unwrap it so that the pastry doesn't stick together. I'm just flattening it just a little bit. Just a little bit to stretch it out. We want to stretch it out long enough to fit our piece of salmon. So I'm almost there. There's our salmon. That's probably just perfect to fit in there. Now we're gonna put a little bit of flour on the top in the middle where the salmon is gonna go. Get our salmon over here. We're gonna Dijon, mustard, salt and pepper, the entire thing. We'll start with the bottom side. I am gonna dry that off a bit though. Dijon mustard. So that's about 2 tablespoons. So you want a tablespoon on each side about. Then we're gonna salt and pepper it, flip it over, do the same on the other side, and then we're gonna top it with our spinach, and then it's gonna start coming together. So I'm now gonna flip this over, but I'm gonna flip it over onto my pastry so that we're not moving it too much. Flip it on my hand and into the center of the pastry. Look at that. Now we use the last tablespoon, get that on the top, and then we'll get the salt and pepper on there. We don't need to use garlic powder or anything because we put all the garlic and onion inside the spinach mixture. So we're just gonna dump that on top, down the middle, and then we're gonna even it out as much as we can. And there we have it. And you just wanna kind of even it out as much as you can. This is gonna harden up a little bit more in the fridge because the cream cheese will harden. And then I'm gonna make my egg wash. I'm gonna set this aside to work on the rest of it. I'm gonna do my egg wash. So it's basically 1 egg whipped up with, you can use half and half if you want. I'm just using milk, about a teaspoon. Some people use water too. Everything adds flavor. About a teaspoon. See that egg white in there? That's not quite mixed up. Okay, we're gonna set that aside. Here's our last piece of pastry. Open that up. Now we're gonna wanna kind of push it down so that it matches the size of the other one. We're going to egg wash the edges. I'm gonna egg wash them all, even the ones that I'm gonna cut off because I'm not sure how much I'm gonna cut off, so it's better to be safe than sorry. We are brushed. We'll put that aside because we are gonna need it for the top. Flip this pastry on top, like roll it on top. And make sure you cover the entire piece of salmon. Whew, that was a little bit, there we go. There we have it. It's the sides I'm worried about because they're the smallest part, but everything worked out just fine. You can also do this in smaller pockets. If you wanted to do like 4 pieces individual, you can. Get the air out of there. There we have it. We're gonna slice it so that we have probably about an inch. See, I didn't waste too much. You can use a pizza roller as well. I'm just using a sharp paring knife because I had already dirtied it earlier. Now we're going to put some egg wash on these edges that we're going to fold up. And then once they're folded up, we're going to just crimp them with a fork, and then we're going to cut the top to put a design on there, and we're going to put it into the fridge. You don't want too much egg wash on there because then it tends to not stick. Like, this edge is pretty wet. And this is going to go right into the fridge on this parchment paper, and then this parchment paper is going to go right into the oven. So we're just going to crimp the edges with a fork. This is puff pastry that I'm using, by the way. I think I just keep saying pastry, but it is puff pastry. Now you can slice crisscrosses in it if you like. I'm gonna try and do this with a spoon. I've seen this before on pages. Let's see how it goes. So I'm just gonna push that in like that. Basically, it's the scale of fish. And then I'll take my paring knife and go along with the cuts. And then just a little, you don't cut through, you just make a little mark so that it stays prominent, I guess you could say. So it's gonna slide right onto my plate. Right onto my plate. And that's gonna go into the fridge. Okay, so this has been in the fridge for a couple of hours now. I put the egg back in the fridge. I want to leave it on the counter for a couple of hours. So I'm just going to give it a quick stir up. And then we're going to baste the top of it. Now I have the oven preheating at 375. My pan is in there because you want to put it onto a hot pan. So my pan is preheating with it, and then I'm going to baste this, and then I'm going to slide the parchment paper right on to the pan. There we have it. My oven is preheated. How's that for timing? Just make sure you get all the way around it. This is going to make it that beautiful golden brown. And then we're going to bake it for about 30 minutes. I am going to put a meat probe in there, though, to make sure I can keep an eye on the internal temperature of the salmon. I'm going to use a meter meat probe. It's a wireless meat probe. I love it. If you've followed me for a while, you know it is definitely my favorite kitchen tool. That is for sure. There, I think that's about it. I think we're covered. Okay. And put it in. Beautiful. Done. And then we're just gonna slide this on over here. Beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful. Get that back in the oven for about 30 minutes. And there we have it. 35 minutes in the oven, and it's ready to slice. I let it sit for 10 minutes. Okay, so she's rested 10 minutes. We're gonna take a long knife. That's gonna cut through the puff pastry nice. Well, it should. Let's see what it looks like. It's almost like a Christmas present, isn't it? Yeah, that's cutting really nice. It's not breaking up the puff or anything. Ooh, look at that. Doesn't that look delicious? So how super simple and easy was that? This would totally impress your guests. Totally easy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see. And please, please subscribe. It keeps me doing stuff for you. There we go. There we go. Nice big slab in there. Look at that. is absolutely beautiful. It smells delicious. Let's dig in. Bon appetit. Thanks for watching.